What's up, Internet? So I noticed that there's kind of a severe lacking of boa videos on YouTube, as well as a lot of boa people make note of it. And to be completely honest, I don't really show off my own boas a lot. A lot of times I'll use them in my videos about talking about general subjects, but I don't actually highlight a lot of boa information, or at least nearly as much as I should. So I'm going to do a few videos pretty regularly, just kind of highlighting or showing off my boas. Maybe not necessarily the most informational or a lot about care, as most of my videos I don't really do a whole lot, but similarly to ball pythons, care's kind of dialed in with these guys. You know, high humidity, pretty high heat, give them a lot of space, they like to climb, you know, the usual. So very food motivated. So this one we're going to talk mostly about Kahl albino and Kahl albino combos. I don't have a whole lot of boas, nearly as many as I used to or was planning on to at some point. And between, circumstances outside of my control, as well as realizing, well, if I'm going to have 30 female boas, that's a lot of 6-foot cages, and I don't have that much room. So not that many. So we're just going to start off with the few that I have, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more as it continues. So to start things off with, we're going to go with Ro, our Kahl albino male. So if you watched my video about albino boas in general, which you can check out right here if you would like, there's quite a few different bloodlines, or not bloodlines, but strains, and there are bloodlines too, but strains of albinism. Both the only probably true T negative, which means 100% no tyrosinate, all albino boa, is the Kahl strain. Then there's Sharp and VPI and CA and BWC and a whole bunch of other ones like that. But the only strains that I work with are VPI, CA, those are both T positives, and then the Kahl line. I don't work with Sharp or anything like that. So this video, just gonna do the Kahls. I'm assuming he's going up high, but I don't really know. Oh, by the way, boas like to climb, if you guys haven't figured that out yet. So, the Kahl line, obviously, was first started by Pete Kahl, or established as an actual morph. And there are two kind of lines of them. There's the coral line and there's the lipstick line. They're both compatible, they're both Kahl albinos, but they're two distinct lines. The coral line, which honestly I have a bit of a preference for, usually have more pink in them. Their stripes and saddles aren't as bold, but there's a lot more kind of pink in their bodies. And if you look here, if you look at his face, if he will let me, and around his neck, he is very pink. And actually, as far as coral goes, he's a very nice looking coral. He's a very nice looking coral. They can get more red, but I like the more pink pink animals versus the more red and orange ones. So I'm hoping to kind of further along that. And his sister is a Sunglow, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So this is the coral albino. So this is the basic one single gene heterozygous form of the albino, sorry, I messed that up. The one single gene, the homozygous form of the recessive gene, Kahl albino, and he is a coral. All right, so I talked a little bit about the other line of Kahl albino, and that is the lipstick line. So the coral had kind of the more blushing, more pink-sided, not as clean lines. The other line is the lipstick. So the lipstick, they call it because it kind of highlights it, really makes it pop, has those clean lines. That's why they call it the lipstick, right? Well, this girl isn't just an albino lipstick. She's actually a Sunglow. So what that means for a lot of people who don't know too much about boa morphs, although Sunglow is kind of the easiest one or the most famous one easily, kind of like the bumblebee ball python or pied ball python or something like that, is this is a 2-gene combo animal. So it's the T negative Kahl albino lipstick line, but they can be the coral too, and then hypo or hypomelanistic. So the hypomelanistic in boas, I'm sorry, sunshine, is an incomplete dominant trait. And so kind of like in ball pythons, the Mojave, the pastels, the orange dreams, those are all incomplete dominants, where there can be a super form or a true complete homozygous form. And what that is in boas is just super hypo. The hypomelanistic, just like in ball pythons and all the other different morphs, is a reduction of melanin, which makes them brighter, doesn't have as much dark on them, not as much black, and it really brightens them up. So when you combine the hypomelanistic and the albino, you get Sunglow. So we do have a coral Sunglow as well, Pi, but she is currently being treated for, a little bit of an infection in her mouth and going through antibiotics, and I don't really want to stress her out, even though honestly she'd probably be fine. But Sunshine hasn't gotten a whole lot of screen time, so that's why we're going to show her off. So I absolutely love Sunglow boas. They're one of my favorite morphs, one of the first ones I saw that I absolutely thought was incredible, and I would love to be able to hopefully produce some Sunglows this year with our probable super ghost and the albino female. All right, and I'm going to do my best on this one because he is not the happiest camper a lot of the time. So, as I said just a second ago about breeding hopefully Sunglows with my super ghost, so the ghost is a 2-gene animal in boas, which is the hypo and then a visual aneurystic. The aneurystic is a recessive gene just like albino, but it reduces the aneurysphores, which are the reds and oranges and kind of yellows, which makes kind of like a black and white grayish animal. And as they get older, they do have a tendency to kind of brown out a bit. But when you take all 3 of those genes, albino, hypo, and anery, in boa constrictors, or at least in the Kahl, you get a moon glow. And I have a whole story that I'll probably talk about on my podcast about moon glows, but these guys are some of the creme de la creme of the original boa genes. It's hard to get a whole lot of genes in boas because it just takes so much longer to breed them than ball pythons, or at least safely. So Maine here is quite the cantankerous little boy. For actually the first 4 years, I couldn't really do anything with him without taking pops at me. And he is behaving very well, so thank you so much, Maine. But that being said, these guys are born almost solid white, and then they will kind of yellow out as they get older, and there's not really anything we can do about that. If you remove the hypo, they are snows, and they have a tendency to be less yellow as they get older. But these guys are kind of pretty valuable in all honesty. They're really amazing boas, and the genetic possibilities or potential is pretty nice, So, it's a 3-gene animal. With boas, it's quite a bit. And then also with boas, the value of them increases exponentially as they get older, and especially once they prove actual breeding successfully. So this is Maine. He's doing really great, and I'm very excited if you guys can't tell that or not. So, hope you enjoyed this video, just showing off a little bit of some of my boas, because honestly, boas need a little bit more attention. They are wonderful, wonderful animals, but I think they get overlooked a lot, both in the ability of being really good pets, and honestly some of the morphs too, because of, the popularity of the pet rocks. So, hope you enjoyed the video again. Please check us out on all of our other social media, the podcast. If you're interested in merch, hit me up, and we'll check you next time.